Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Let me get into my email so we can talk about this. I don't want this. Oh, I gotta get into the other account. Good morning, everybody. Hey, New York City. Hey, Really B. How you doing? We talking about Kyrsten Sinema today. Kyrsten Sinema. And then I might go on over to YouTube and talk a little bit about Tory Lanez. I mean, everybody has said it all, but yeah. Let me talk with my peeps and see how they doing over there. Is this it? Nope. Somebody tagged me in an article about the bishop. He is a hot mess. He is not a representative of the God I serve. I think I could talk about that too. Where is the article? Here it is. Good morning. Happy Christmas Eve. Is it Happy Christmas Eve or is it Merry Christmas Eve? Oh, you talked about the bishop yesterday? I have to check you out while I'm cooking dinner. But I saw somebody tag me in an article where he owned a building and there was a church in the building and he evicted the church. I was like, what? Yeah, he is no representative of the God I serve. Whiskey Bear is sleeping. He's all snuggled up in his crate. Hey, Donna. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody. Welcome to all of the new followers. That's what you talked about? Okay, yeah. Let me add you to my watch list. And I'll talk about that too. Lupita's dating someone. Good for her. Good for her. Good morning from Connecticut. Good morning. Good morning. My shirt is actually PJs, Christmas PJs from Target. Black Joy every season. These I could wear year round, but the ones that I'll probably be rocking tomorrow, they're only for Christmas. Let me see. Did it come up? I must be losing my mind. Yeah, I told y'all. Didn't I tell y'all that Kyrsten Sinema better step right? Because every time I see something about her, I'm coming in to talk about it. I'm doing her just like I did Herschel Walker. Baby, we got 2 years. Kyrsten Sinema has got to go. Good morning from LA. Is she acting up, baby? Listen, if you are not a mutual, I don't accept request to come up on my page if you're not a mutual. I don't know who you are, and I know I have some hateful racists following me. And they will love to jump on my platform to try to make a fool out of me. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to debate. Whatever's got your panties in a bunch over what I said what I said. Period. I'm not here to debate it. I'm not here to really talk about it further. I said what I said. I'm not here to try to bridge a gap with racists and xenophobics and fascists and hateful people. I'm not here to bridge a gap. I want you to stay over there, and I'm going to stay over here. And the people that's following me and want to hear what I got to say are more than welcome to be here. Those of you that like to get down in the comment and look for your shot to get up on my platform, it won't happen. Have to be a mutual. I see one of my peeps is put up a poll. And it's in regards to my Instagram account. Thank you so much. I had to start a new Instagram account. Please make sure you're following me over on my Instagram account. You can get to my Instagram account through the little Instagram link in my bio. Just click that icon. It'll bring up my page for Instagram and YouTube. You can click the Instagram link and it'll take you right to the page. Makes it very easy. And click the follow button. I have a goal. I need to get to 10,000. Somebody says, I'm a primary news source. Thank you. Thank you for all of the hearts and the gifts. Y'all giving early. Thank you. The Immigration Pro is down in the chat. She probably put up the poll. It went away before I could hit the start button. It'll come back up though. Thank you, everybody. So yes, if you could please help me get to my goal of 10,000 over on Instagram, I would really appreciate it. Somebody says we're going to lose TikTok. I don't know, but that's the Republican goal. Hey, not Stanley Tucci. How you doing? Good morning. That's the goal, but I don't know. Remember, we've been here before. We've been here before. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I post stuff over on Instagram that I don't post on TikTok. So let's talk about Kyrsten Sinema. I told y'all I was gonna be on it. And y'all have somebody sent this to me over on Instagram. Kyrsten Sinema. Kyrsten Sinema is being referred to the ethics committee because of how she's treating her staff. She's using her staff basically as personal assistants. And you can't do that. You can't do that. I got this article from the Daily Beast. Yeah. She's a hot mess. I thought somebody told me, or I heard somebody say that she was near homeless when she was running for office. Is that true? I'm not here to talk about AOC. You want to talk about AOC, you can set up your own live and you can have a discussion about AOC. I'm not here talking about AOC. Good morning, Colorado. Yes, that's the Lily Pros. That's the purpose of the staff. They're really working for the people. They're helping her work for the people, right? I saw the Fort Lauderdale City Council. I did a video on it. I just was like, and so, my mom lives down there in Fort Lauderdale. I was like, this has to be a skit. This has to be a skit. This has to be a setup. It has to be. My mom's like, no, everybody down there is befuddled. They are just shocked. But it's a true story. Somebody said, I heard she wasn't homeless, but she had about $35,000 to her name, and now she's worth $11 million. Okay. Got it. So, there you have it. That's why she loves Mitch McConnell so much, because Mitch McConnell is showing her how to use her position in the Senate to enrich herself. Good morning. Good morning. Sharice Pat. Good morning. Good morning. I saw my sister come in here, Colorful Story. Make sure y'all are following her. I'm the one that talks about the news and what's happening in political news. I talk about celebrity gossip every now and then, but for the most part, it's political news that I talk about, and I try to break down what's going on. Colorful Story, she talks about the history and ties it to a lot of the legislation that's passed. You should be following her. You want to learn about Black history and how it ties into a lot of the politics that's happening today. Make sure you're following Colorful Story. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. She is the bomb. Absolutely. She is that. There's some stuff that I'm learning from her. Oh, I got my book. She's getting ready. Let me get my book. I got my book. She's getting ready to do some live discussions about April Ryan's latest book, Black Women Will Save the World, an Anthem. And so I got it yesterday. I also downloaded it on Audible because y'all know how I roll. So make sure you're following Colorful Story, and make sure you get this book so you can be a part of the discussions. I don't know if she's going to do... You doing the discussions on TikTok? Because I know you mad with TikTok right now. Are you doing them over here, or are you doing them on Fanbase? We can do them either, because I got my Fanbase account back. So we can do them on Fanbase if that's where you're going to do it. Culture Fabric, you getting yours today? I got it from Amazon. Okay, so she's doing it on both, y'all. This is the book again. Black Women Will Save the World, an Anthem by April Ryan. Don't you just love the cover art? That is just beautiful. Beautiful. Have you figured out your dates yet? Colorful, have you figured out your dates yet? On when the first live is going to take place? Because, girl, I got to prepare. Y'all go on that night. I have to have me a nap and all of that to be to be useful at night, to have an intelligent, intellectual conversation. When y'all do this stuff at night, I got to get me a nap. I got to prepare because I'm more of a morning person. The nighttime thing, baby, I usually am not worth 2 cents. If you want me to think, I am not worth 2 cents after 6, 7 o'clock. That's why y'all don't really see me after a certain time. Y'all don't see a whole lot of videos from me after a certain time because, yeah, I'm just wiped in the evening and I don't want to think. I don't want to think. Okay, so she hasn't figured out a time yet. Y'all follow her. She'll make the announcement on when the first live will be. Did you just... No, I'm getting ready to do that now. So the cinema tea is that the Daily... You can find this on the Daily Beast. It is the incredible... It's titled The Incredible 37-Page Guide for Staffing Senator Kyrsten Sinema. So Kyrsten has this guide that she gives to her staff. And in that guide is the rules that she has for her staff. And I guess the staff has turned it over or leaked it to the Daily Beast. You know, I think a lot of her staff quit. I think they quit. So, yeah, she's having some real problems. I found a content creator today, early this morning, who broke some things down regarding her switch from the Democratic Party to the Independent Party and how she's having some serious fallout from that. People aren't supporting her. So make sure you check that video out. So let's get into this article. This article, I think, is kind of long. We gonna get through it though. Yeah, it's kind of long because, but we got time, right? It's Saturday and it's Christmas Eve. Okay, so the article starts with, always have a room temperature bottle on hand for her at all times. And her would be Kyrsten Sinema. Hey, Chef. How you doing? These are just a few of the tasks framed in a dizzying array of do's and don'ts that have fallen to the staffers for Senator Kyrsten Sinema. I hate to even call her a senator. Your staff has to have a room temperature bottled water for you? You can't get your own bottled water? According to an internal memo obtained by the Daily Beast. So somebody is leaking this to the Daily Beast. But you see, they ain't talking about this kind of stuff on MSNBC. It's a 37-page memo, and it's intended as a guide for her aides who set the schedule for and personally staff Sinema during her work days in Washington and Arizona. And while the document is mostly just revealing of Sinema's exceptionally strong preferences about things like air travel, preferably not on Southwest Airlines, so she don't like to fly Southwest. Never book her a seat near a bathroom, and absolutely never a middle seat. Sinema's standards appear to go right up to the line of what Senate ethics rules allow, if not over. One section of the staffer guide explains that the senator's executive assistant must contact Sinema at the beginning of the work week in Washington to ask if she needs groceries, and copy both the scheduler and the chief of staff on the message to make sure this is accomplished. So the executive assistant has to send her an email, copy the chief of staff and the person who does her scheduling so that they can make sure all of this is done. Why I got to be on you about your goddamn groceries? What? It specifies Sinema will reimburse the assistant through the CashApp. So you mean to tell me the executive assistant has to do your grocery shopping, pay for it out of pocket, and then you reimburse her? You mean to tell me if you're expecting this person to do your grocery shopping, you don't have a fund set up? You don't even have a fund set up for this person to do this? So the person has to do your grocery shopping, pay for it out of their pocket, and then you reimburse them. A woman that's worth, what somebody said, $11 million. This is your personal shit. If you want somebody to make sure you've got groceries in your house, you should be paying for a personal assistant to do that. I'm not paying the executive assistant to do your grocery shopping. What? We just getting into it. The memo also dictates that if the executive assistant probably makes $65,000, $75,000, maybe $80,000. But this person is working somewhere in the area of Washington. Is Really B still in the chat? It's expensive to live in that area. She got her own bills to pay. I see a fool down in the chat. I gotta get rid of the fool, y'all. Sorry. Y'all know if I see it, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. This This woman got her own bills to pay. So she got to budget her bills and budget your grocery shopping out of her money. And then you reimburse her. Thank you. Really B knows that area. She must be gone because... Okay, moving on. The memo also dictates that if the internet in Sinema's private apartment fails, the executive assistant should call Verizon to schedule a repair and ensure a staffer is present to let a technician inside the property. So if her internet fails, the executive assistant has to schedule for a repairman to come out and do whatever it is that they need to do. And then a staffer has to be present at her private apartment to make sure it gets done, let the person in, da-da-da-da-da-da. This woman needs a personal assistant. Now, I know, CEOs and stuff like that, they expect their executive assistants to handle a small modicum of personal things, right? That happens. But this is way personal in my opinion. Moving on. The Senate Ethics Handbook states that staff are compensated for the purpose of assisting senators in their official, legislative, and representational duties, and not for the purpose of performing personal or other non-official activities for themselves or on behalf of others. So scheduling to have your internet repaired, that's not her duty. Doing your grocery shopping, that's not her duty. If you are so busy, which she possibly could be, but if you are so busy, get you a part-time personal assistant to help you with these things. That comes out of your own pocket. She don't want to do that. Craig Holman, a congressional ethics expert with the nonprofit group Public Citizen, says Sinema's apparent demands that staffers conduct personal tasks amount to a clear violation. Who is this that came in? Oh, she's speaking. Hey, how you doing? Oh, she's speaking. Listen, pause. Oh, she's speaking. Y'all know the white woman that's going across everybody's For You page talking about black people got a whole lot of somethings, affirmative action, HBCUs. I had to break all of that down. Y'all saw the video of me breaking all of that down because all she has is talking points, bullet points. That's what she listed. She does not understand nor the context behind the bullet points that she provides. And she got that from other races. Other races, they never go into context. They never explain the background to what they are talking about. The bullet points, never. So what I did was I explained the bullet points. I went into full context. I explained in context each bullet point. And when you talk about the context, you expose how ignorant and idiotic women like her are. But there's another viral video of her going around talking about she's been wanting to have a conversation. She invites anyone to come in and have a conversation. Well, what was her name? Let me go back up to find. I want to make sure I say her name right. Y'all know I could butcher a name. She's speaking. Tried to set up to have a conversation with her. And you know what the white racist woman did? The white racist woman blocked her and deleted her comments. 2 pages. She's speaking got 2 different pages. She blocked her on both pages. She's not trying to have a conversation. She's not trying to be educated. She's vomiting her racist talking points all over TikTok. That's why I stepped back from it. I explained the context. I exposed her ignorance, and I moved on once I saw what she was doing. But white women, like who she's speaking, is trying to use the knowledge that they have to educate her. She ain't trying to be educated. No, she wants her face all over social media. And now she out there singing, what's the name of the song? Soul Sisters, the song about the holes, a black hole. And they're using it as an empowerment song. Child, please. Yeah. And not only did she block who she's speaking, not only did she do that, she started mass reporting her videos because who she's speaking said, I tried to reach out to you. Hey, Sen, I tried to reach out to you on this page and on this page. And you didn't reach back out to me. She was commenting on the lady's stuff. And so what she do? She go over and get who she's speaking videos taken down and then blocked her. That's the devil that is. Let's be clear. She keeps talking about she got black friends. She ain't got no black friends. If she had black friends, then she would have a small iota. She would have some understanding of the black experience. Because if you have black friends that you care about, like she says she do, she would talk to them about those issues. She would say, hey, I don't understand what's going on. Can we have a frank conversation? Can you explain to me? No, she don't have black friends. She know black people. She work with black people. That's it. It doesn't go beyond that. Period. Okay, let's go. Shout out to who she's speaking. She's down in the chat. Make sure you follow her. She educates the white women too. Okay, where was I? Okay, Greg, somebody, Ill City, how you doing? Greg, Ill City, that duet I did with you, somebody reported it and had it taken down. You were speaking too much truth. Somebody reported and had it taken down. But that's what I do with Instagram. I put it up over on Instagram. Okay, so back to Kyrsten Sinema. Craig Holman, a congressional ethics expert with the nonprofit group Public Citizen, says Sinema's apparent demands that staffers conduct personal tasks amount to a clear violation of Senate ethics rules and would typically warrant a formal reprimand by the Senate Ethics Committee. Because she got people who work for the government doing her personal shit. Sinema spokesperson Hannah Hurley told the Daily Beast that the alleged information sourced from anonymous quote and a purported document I can't verify is not in line with official guidance from Senator Sinema's office and does not represent official policies of Sinema's office. What do we expect them to say? Oh yeah, I use government employees to do my personal labor. You think they're going to come out and admit it? Hurley added that Sinema's office does not require staff to perform personal errands. You got your executive assistant doing your grocery shopping every week and she has to pay for it out of her pocket? What y'all talking about? Listen. My question would be, did you hire me as your personal assistant or am I an executive assistant for this congressional office, this senator's office? Because if I'm an assistant for the senator's office, which belongs to the government, do your own grocery shopping. Listen, the Daily Beast did not share the document itself with Sinema's office and is not printing it in its entirety over concerns that doing so may reveal who shared the memo. So they want to protect their source. Source probably still works for Kyrsten Sinema. Excuse me. However, the Daily Beast was able to independently corroborate the veracity of the document, which is at least a couple years old, but could still reflect current policies. The Daily Beast sent Sinema's office a detailed list of claims and quotes sourced from the memo and intended for publication. While the memo may not represent the most up-to-date scheduling practices for Sinema, the document reflects long-running guidelines as well as commitments of the senators that have remained consistent. Moreover, the memo is clear that even if Sinema and her chief of staff never signed off on the document itself, both were to be alerted when the senator's executive assistant had procured her groceries or completed a number of other tasks. Because remember, at the beginning it said she had to check in with Kyrsten Sinema to do the grocery shopping. And she had to copy the chief of staff and the scheduler, right? And she had to pay for the groceries out of her own pocket. And then let Kyrsten Sinema know, and she would refund her. Before you got in the office, someone said down in the chat you were worth $35,000. Now you're worth $11 million. You expecting this person to do your personal shit and pay for it out of pocket. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Historically, Sinema has been far more averse to talking to press than her colleagues, though she has done a number of interviews recently following her departure from the Democratic Party and the passage of a same-sex marriage bill she helped to pass. Still, the scheduling memo offers a rare glimpse into how one of the Senate's most inscrutable and most scrutinized members approaches her job and runs her office. Kyrsten works hard, but is protective of her personal time, reads the very first paragraph of the document, which explains that Sinema has time-consuming commitments outside of this job. What time-consuming commitments would she have outside of her job? Does Kyrsten have children? Is she married? What other commitments does she have? Now, I can say that her job requires for her to do all sorts of things all of the time. I can admit that, but this says outside of this job. What commitments? Somebody said marathoning. Well, you know, that's the picture that they use. Her marathoning, bike riding, and all of that stuff. Okay, so let's continue on. The commitments seem to be a reference to her extensive schedule of training and competing in marathons and Ironman events, which are referenced numerous times in the memo, as well as her other job teaching classes at Arizona State University. Okay, so she teaches at Arizona State University, and somebody hit the nail on the head: marathons and Ironman competitions. Actually, she was at the university when people were trying to talk to her, and she flat out ignored them, went into a bathroom. They went in behind her, just trying to have a word with her because they can't afford, to get a fancy plate at her fundraising events to have a word with their representatives. So they try to catch her in these spaces where they can possibly talk to her for free. But she ignores them. No, you want to talk to me? You get this $1,000 plate at my fundraiser. She doesn't schedule town halls. Most politicians who care about their constituents, they have town hall meetings once a month, once a quarter, something. She doesn't do that. She has fundraisers where the regular everyday person can't afford to attend. Okay, moving on. Do not schedule anything ever outside of regular work hours without first getting Kyrsten's permission. The document reads, she will very, very rarely agree to work outside the regular hours. So only ask if it's a big deal. What's a big deal? A big time donor. That would be a big deal. And she'll probably make the time to attend whatever that is. Moving on. The memo is clear that Sinema doesn't start work before 8:45 and staffers should not schedule anything after 8 p.m. In fact, it specifies that the senator is often not reachable after 8 p.m. during the week, which would make her highly unusual among U.S. senators. The document also makes clear that much of Sinema's time outside of regular work hours consists of exercising and training for athletic competition. She wakes up very early to work out, and sleep is very important to her. The memo also specifies that on weekends, she needs a later start to accommodate her training schedule, which entails scheduling no work obligations earlier than 1 p.m. So you know what it sounded like to me? Her job in representing her constituents, Arizonians, that's secondary. That's secondary. That's her part-time gig, right? Marathons and Ironman and scheduling training, her training, all of that, that's primary. That's primary. That's what it sounds like to me. Apparently, facilitating Sinema's athletic schedule was a core duty for her official staff. The memo instructs aides to add Sinema's races to her calendar and to consult with her on how much recovery time she will need afterwards. These activities are very important to her and should be protected. Not her meeting with her constituents. Listen, block this time, 5 to 8. I'm doing a Zoom meeting with my constituents. I don't want to be interrupted. These are very important to me. I need to hear the concerns of my constituents. What's most important is her training, her Ironman, and her marathons. That's what's most important. She will not be interrupted for that. Hey, D-Mac, she will not be interrupted. That's most important. Screw the constituents. Screw that. Screw it. Another section laid out in detail Sinema's eating schedule. An eating schedule? An eating schedule? Well, I guess if you're trying to maintain a level of physicality, you are on schedule, I guess. Due to her very high level of activity, she is always hungry and needs to consume a lot of protein each day. It reads specifying that she has to eat between 12 and 12:30, 2 and 2:30, 5 and 6:30. So it sounds like her staff is tasked with making sure she eats a high protein meal during these times. It states Sinema brings her own lunch, and snacks to work, but that she cannot be scheduled beyond 6:30 p.m. without staff ensuring she has dinner. So if she's scheduled for something at 7, staff have to make sure she got something to eat. Sinema's commitment to athletic pursuits also extended into regular working hours. Oh, so none of this is happening. These aren't the outside commitments anymore. It's now seeping into when she's supposed to be working for her constituents. The memo explains that Sinema must be scheduled for 2 45-minute physical therapy sessions during the week, even specifying that her work calls could be scheduled during these appointments. She also expected to be booked for a weekly hour-long massage, even if it were in the middle of the legislative workday, according to a former Sinema aide who spoke to the Daily Beast and was granted anonymity to describe the workings of the senator. That's probably who they got the memo from. Somebody who used to work for Kyrsten Sinema. So she got physical therapy sessions, 45 minutes, that she does twice a week. She takes her calls during those physical therapy sessions. She gets a nice long 1-hour massage every week. Every week. During when she's supposed to be working for the American people. This is Kyrsten Sinema. She mad with y'all because she know she's so mad with y'all that she switched from the Democratic Party to the Independent Party. She mad with y'all because y'all are demanding more from her as y'all's representative. Y'all listening, Arizona? Okay, let's keep going. Sinema was said to be so committed to her workouts ahead of trips, she would make aides check if hotel swimming pools had the exact right dimensions for her training purposes, a task that could consume for hours. I guess this is in regards to her Ironman competitions. What? So your people, when they're scheduling your travel arrangements, they need to make sure you have a place to lay your head. Maybe need to make sure you have internet access some kind of way, maybe a business center of some sort, even a room if you care to have meetings while you're there, but which would make sense. But you mean to tell me the staff needs to call around to hotels to see if they have a 6x9 swimming pool? A section outlining how to book Sinema's air travel, meanwhile, is a minefield of opportunities for a junior staffer to get crosswise with the boss. Kyrsten Sinema does not like to fly. Child, I don't like to fly either. Terrified of flying. The memo reads, using the senator's initials, "It is your job to make sure she is as comfortable as possible on each flight." Unsurprisingly, some staffers found these instructions and Sinema's zeal in ensuring they were followed to the letter to not only be onerous but detrimental to the overall staff's mission to serve constituents, craft policy, and communicate that work to Arizona. Yeah, they got to spend too much time on Kyrsten's personal icks. Remember at the beginning it said, don't seat her next to the bathroom. I can understand that. A lot of people don't want to be next to the bathroom, and don't seat her in a middle seat. I can understand that. But when you're working for the American people and the only seat available on the plane is near the bathroom or in the middle, you're going to blame your staff for that. They are so on edge and making sure that every one of her icks, I wouldn't want to work for her. I wouldn't want to work for her. I wouldn't want to work for her. And they have to spend so much time on calling around to the hotel to make sure the swimming pool is 6x9 or whatever. They have to spend so much time on her travel that it's frustrating them because they can't work on serving the constituents of Arizona or working on policy. They got to make sure she eats. If there's a meeting scheduled at 7, they got to make sure she has some sort of meal. If the meeting is after 6:30, they have to make sure that she eats every couple of hours and it's a high protein meal. They have to remind her, Kyrsten, did you eat? It's 2 o'clock. Have you eaten? Make sure you got enough protein. They have to do this for Kyrsten Sinema. Child, I know these people are like, I don't have no goddamn children. Quote, when I look back, this is the staffer that's reaching out to the Daily Beast. When I look back, it's unbelievable the amount of time spent just to accommodate her. Capitol Hill has no shortage of bosses with sky-high expectations for their staff. Every boss has expectations. Like I said earlier, some high people require their executive assistants to do some personal things for them. A boss may request their assistant on your way in the office. Are you swinging by here? Can you pick up my dry cleaning? But they leave the door open for that person to say, I'm not coming in that way. And then they'll figure out something else. This is a requirement for Kyrsten. Her personal shit that she needs to get done, she's made it a requirement for government employees who's supposed to be working for us. Hey, Unc. Room temperature bottled water must be available. Yeah, that was at the beginning of the article. She a mess. She and I would not get along. Let me get back to it. Capitol Hill has no shortage of bosses with sky-high expectations for staff or with expectation for the perks they are entitled to as a member of Congress. The Arizona senator is also not the only lawmaker whose very specific instructions to aid have been made public. And then it talks about somebody by the name of Representative Todd Rokita. I ain't talking about Todd Rokita. I'm talking about Kyrsten Sinema. Then it goes on to talk about Alex Mooney. I ain't talking about Alex Mooney. I'm talking about Kyrsten Sinema. Okay, here's an example that they are providing, and it looks like a snapshot from the memo that they got, and it's about that drinking lots of water because she's training for marathons and Ironman competitions, so she got to make sure the body's right. Make sure to always have a room temperature bottle of water for her, whether she is in the office at call time or in someone's car. When someone is picking Kyrsten Sinema up from the airport, they should always have a bottle of water for her. It is your job to remind whoever the staff person is, they need to have a room temperature bottle of water for Kyrsten Sinema for her hydration needs. This is a grown woman. If you're traveling, you throw a bottled water in your purse. I do it all the time. When I know I'm going to be out and about all damn day, I throw a bottled water in my purse. She is tasking her staff to make sure that if they're meeting her to pick her up from wherever, they have to have a bottled water. On Capitol Hill, it is common to see even high-ranking lawmakers walk alone to and from their offices or even stand in line alongside staffers for coffee or lunch. For many, flying in coach is a badge of honor or political necessity. Occasionally, spotting lawmakers doing their shopping at the neighborhood supermarkets is an amusing quirk of life in Washington. But Sinema is not a typical senator. In many regards, in the last 2 years, her opposition to key aspects of the Democratic Party's agenda have proved immensely frustrating to her colleagues, with her relationship to the party frayed and facing a potentially daunting primary ahead of her in 2024 re-election. Sinema announced this month that she would leave the Democratic Party and become an independent. Remember, I told y'all, I think I did a video on it. It's in my videos way back, where she was flying. Remember, she mentions that she doesn't like to fly. They mentioned she doesn't like to fly. So I can understand her nerves may be a little rattled and she's just waiting for the plane to get on the ground. But one of her constituents, because she doesn't do meetings, right? With her constituents. She doesn't do those. So they can't afford the $1,000 plate fundraisers that she has. So they try to catch her in these moments. And she was on a plane. And one of her constituents tried to talk to her on the plane. She flat out ignored that lady as if that lady wasn't standing there talking to her. At the time, Sinema's last 2 years have been especially productive for a relatively junior senator. She was at the center of a bipartisan group that helped broker the $1 trillion infrastructure law and helped shepherd the first meaningful gun reform in decades from Congress. Along with Senators Tammy Baldwin, Susan Collins, and Tom Tillis, Sinema helped to get legislation codifying the right to same-sex marriage on President Biden. The little bit of work that she has done, it's not, when you look at what she has blocked, she can go. She can go. As her colleagues on both sides of the aisle will attest to and her legislative track record makes clear, Sinema is among the most hard-working, effective members of the United States Senate. Hurley, Sinema's spokesperson, in response to questions for the article. What is her spokesperson going to say? She's a waste of time. All she does is block stuff. You think that's what the spokesperson is going to say? The spokesperson is going to say all of what she has done and amplified tenfold. No. If you're tuned in, what she's blocked and the trouble she's caused doesn't match what she's been able to accomplish. The senator scrambles the common stereotype of demanding Capitol Hill boss. She does not. For example, demand aids be accessible at all hours of the day and night, unlike some of her colleagues revealed to be particularly punishing bosses. Listen, my boss, you're not going to get me after 5 o'clock. You're not going to get me after 5 o'clock. You're not going to get me before 9 o'clock. You're not. And we all have a mutual respect in the office. You're not. I could be looking at the phone and a text is coming through. If it's after 5 o'clock. Now granted, I'm a professional. And if an emergency situation is happening, I will do what needs to be done. But that's not, I am not, no. You want me to do extra, you're going to pay me extra. After 5 o'clock, if you need me to do something, you're going to pay me for that. You are. But ain't no way that you are going to be requiring me to be available for you 24 hours, 7 days a week. Hell no. Not when her ass isn't available after 6:30. She's not available after 6:30 and she's not available before 8:45. Remember? And on the weekend, she's not available before 1 p.m. So she has no respect for the people who work for her and their personal time. None whatsoever. That's some disrespectful shit. Instead, the memo paints a picture of a boss who expects the hours she does keep to be choreographed perfectly. Kyrsten is very efficient and hates wasting time. Sinema is described as so hyper-focused on the task at hand that staff needs to constantly remind her exactly when to keep moving. If staff has to constantly remind her about tasks and how to keep it moving, then how hyper-focused is she really? But her desire for to the minute efficiency for work obligations compared to the time she sets aside for other pursuits leaves some questions about her priorities. The document outlines that Sinema should keep all meetings with constituents in her DC office limited to a block on Wednesday. So she could have, on Wednesday, between 2 and 4, she could block off time to talk to her constituents. Or it could be from 2 to 2:30. Or it could be 2 to 2:15. Her former aide told the Daily Beast that Sinema would stack as many constituent meetings as possible, usually no longer than 3 minutes, into a half-hour period on Wednesdays. So she's not really scheduling time to have meaningful conversation with her constituents. It's a half-hour time. Each person gets 3 minutes. Can you fully explain what it is, what your issue is in 3 minutes? This is how she's treating the constituents of Arizona, people who voted to put her into office. She's reduced you all down to 30 minutes on Wednesday, and you only have 3 minutes. That meant that Sinema likely spent more time during the work week in physical therapy appointments and massages than with her constituents. That's the point. She doesn't want to have conversation with her constituents. She doesn't care about your issues. She's not trying to work for you. She's focused on Iron Man and her marathons, and making sure she gets high protein meals and that there's room temperature bottled water. That's what she's focusing. And whoever she needs to meet with that's paying a pretty penny for her fundraisers, those are her priorities. That meant that Sinema likely spent more time during the week in physical therapy appointments and massages than with her constituents. The document also outlines that scheduling coffee meetings with lobbyists and donors are fine. So, lobbyists and donors, they get all the time they need. And they are allotted 15 to 20 minutes each. So if you're writing a check, you get 15 to 20 minutes. Okay? A comparatively lengthy stretch of time for a senator routinely scheduled down to the second. The memo also describes Sinema's intense fundraising activity through both in-person events and making donor calls. Call time is incredibly important to Kyrsten. It says, stating that Sinema asks for 2 to 4 hours of it on the schedule weekly. So on her schedule, whatever day it is, she does all of her calls to request money. It also instructs staff to schedule fundraisers for Sinema in DC within the regular work hours. So she's saying that these don't take place after her 6:30 and before her 8:45 start time. No, schedule all of this during the work hours when I'm supposed to be working for my constituents. I don't want to work for them. I want to meet with the fundraisers, the people who gonna give me the money. That's how she went from $35,000 to $11 million allegedly. She's a multimillionaire now. I don't know if it's solely 11 million, but she's a multimillionaire now. When she started out, I thought she was homeless. But somebody said no, she was worth 35,000. So she spends all her time Ironman training, marathon training, worried about room temperature, bottled water, high protein meals, making sure the executive assistant is doing their grocery shopping. She's that's what's going on, while she should be working for her constituents in Arizona. It also instructs staff to schedule, I read that in DC within the regular working hours, and then quotes, it says, Kyrsten dislikes dinners because they run late and are expensive. The need to dial for campaign dollars and press the flesh at DC receptions is a near universal chore for members of Congress, and the amount of time Sinema spent fundraising is likely comparable to that of other senators. But at home, Sinema has been criticized for skirting appearances with constituents while making time for donors and for the business community. In the last year, for instance, significant details about her attitude on key bills were revealed to the press by Arizona business leaders who meet with her privately. The staff memo makes clear that Sinema keeps a robust travel schedule for fundraising, official business, and personal commitments. The section on how to book her airplane seats are among the document's most elaborate. Ooh, this is a long one. Okay, let's get into. Now, we also got to remember, she's terrified to fly. She's afraid to fly. It said she doesn't like to fly. Okay. Kyrsten has an executive platinum status on American Airlines and sometimes receives an automatic upgrade to first class. Do not rely on this. These are the instructions in this 37-page staffing memo on what she requires. Okay. So she sometimes gets upgraded to first class. Do not rely on this. In the event that she does not get upgraded, it is important that she have a seat she is comfortable with. First choice, Kyrsten prefers an aisle seat as close to the front of the plane as possible, except that she does not want the bulkhead row. So she needs to be, if she can't get first class, she needs to be as close to the front as possible, but not this certain section at the front of the plane. Okay? Those seats are smaller than regular seats and are crowded. She also doesn't want the seat next to, directly in front of the bathroom on planes where there's a bathroom in the middle of the plane. Look at the seat map for every flight you book, or ask the booking agent about the flight map if you're reserving over the phone. Kyrsten generally prefers to be closer to the front in a window seat. So now, okay, at one point it was the aisle seat close to the front of the plane, but not this section. But now she prefers to be closer and in a window seat than further back in an aisle. It saves her time getting off the plane. Next choice. If you can't get an aisle seat, get a window seat. This is so confusing. Because she says at the front of the plane, aisle seat, but not this section at the front of the plane. She doesn't want to be sitting next to the bathroom. Now she's saying an aisle seat. It saves her time getting off the plane. If you can't get a window seat using the same guidelines above, this shouldn't happen often since you're booking most flights 6 weeks in advance. Last resort, do everything in your power not to put her in a middle seat. If the circumstances are such that a middle seat is the only option, make sure you email Kyrsten to let her know and also provide some information about other flights. So if the middle seat is the only seat available, you have to reach out to her to let her know the middle seat is the only thing available, but they got a seat on Southwest. You want to go on Southwest? Southwest, she doesn't want to do Southwest. Don't book so late that middle seats are all that's left. Baby. In at least one small respect, however, staffing, Sinema isn't so intense. Call her Senator when referring to her to a third party, the memo reads. When speaking directly to her, call her Kyrsten. So she has an ick about how she's referred to. When you're talking to people outside of the office, address her as Senator. But when you're talking directly to her, call her Kyrsten. And that's the end of the article. This is who y'all put in. Yes, Charlize, an abuse of power. Yes. All of these things she got them, the hoops she got them jumping through. I'm still stuck on the assistant has to do her grocery shopping and pay for it out of pocket. The staff are government employees and should be working for the constituents of Arizona. They spend more time on Kyrsten's personal requests than working for the constituents of Arizona. I know that's right. As high as groceries are today. So I got to use my money. I told y'all, this executive assistant is not, she can't be making more than $80,000. She can't be. Somebody said managing her ego. I got my own bills that I need to take. I can't buy groceries because I got to make sure to purchase your groceries. And how long does it take for that executive assistant to get her money back? Because you know Kyrsten wants to see a receipt. All of this is like one of the commenters said in the comments, a complete abuse of power. She's worth $11 million. You mean to tell me you don't have a grocery fund that your assistant can access? Somebody called her a welfare queen. You don't have a grocery fund. If you're requiring your executive assistant to do this, you don't have a grocery fund set up for her. You put $1,000 in it every month so you can get all the protein that you need, all of your room temperature bottled water. They have to manage having room temperature bottled water for you. If they're picking you up from the airport, they have to have a room temperature bottled water for you. You mean to tell me you can't manage having room temperature bottled water for yourself? You can't manage your meals? If you need to eat at 2, you can't set an alarm and say, oh, I need to eat because I'm trying to stay on a schedule. You can't do that for yourself? She's abusing her office staff. She is abusing them. Somebody says, so the assistant is grocery shopping for her. Yes, every week. Every week, based on this article, the assistant has to reach out to Kyrsten. I guess they go through what she needs for her grocery list. She places the order and pays for it out of her pockets. And then Kyrsten reimburses her. It doesn't say if the staffers are interns. No, not with her credit card. She could at least have a credit card. Here's a credit card. Here's a credit card. I could even understand if the assistant had like a standard list. Just make sure, just make sure you order a 24 pack of water, a few packs of or rotisserie chicken, so I can always make sure I got my protein, maybe some yogurt, some fruit, some salad stuff. Yeah, if it was a standard list and you provided payment, that's just easy to do. Because I understand that, these people in these high positions, some of that is required by their assistant. That's under other duties as assigned. But what these people are doing, they are personal assistants to Kyrsten Sinema. They aren't working. There's nothing in that memo talking about, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, staff, we need to meet. We need to block off time from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. so that we can discuss this policy and we need to research this for that policy. There's no discussion about that in her staffing memo. There's no discussion about that in her staffing memo. It's all about making Kyrsten comfortable for what she needs to do privately. And they have to be available to Kyrsten 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But she makes it clear that she is not available after 6:30 and before 8:45 a.m. So if she needs you at 12 o'clock at night, you better be available. But if you need to reach out to her, no, you ain't gonna get her. You probably gonna get cussed out. You probably gonna get cussed out or fired because you violated the staffing rules. And then all of the hoops you got to go through when you're scheduling her travel. If this isn't available, then do this. And if you have to do this, don't do this. And then if that's not available, then do this. but you didn't want this in the first section. And then if that's not available, then do this. And when you are booking my hotel room, make sure the swimming pool is 6x9 so that I can continue with my training for Ironman and marathons. And the only time I have to speak to constituents is on Wednesday from 2 to 2:30. You can schedule as many constituents that will fit in between that time. Each constituent only gets 3 minutes. But if a donor needs to speak with me, make sure you have times, you put in a time for that donor. And they get 15 to 20 minutes of my time. Or a lobbyist who is probably going to cut a check, a donor. Yeah, they also get 15 to 20 minutes whenever needed. Constituents in Washington, no. When I'm back home in Arizona, I don't have no time for constituents. No, all of my time is for business owners so I can go out and talk to them, and donors and fundraising. I don't have no time for constituents when I'm in Arizona. That's Kyrsten Sinema. Now, if you came in late and you missed the beginning, I will be downloading this and putting it up over on my YouTube channel. YouTube channel is Tabitha Speaks Politics. If you are here and you are not following me on my Instagram account, please help me. Please, somebody says, I thought you were in Georgia. I am in Georgia, but Kyrsten Sinema is my personal project for the next 2 years. Why? Because Kyrsten Sinema is a fucking facade. Remember when Kyrsten Sinema, you know what has me on Kyrsten Sinema's butt? If you've been following me, then you know. When Kyrsten Sinema got on that Congress floor and did a shimmy and a shake and thumbed down increasing the minimum wage, that's what did it for me. And when I found out she's up for re-election for 2024, after I was done with Herschel Walker, Kyrsten Sinema is now in my purview. So if you got a problem with me speaking about Kyrsten Sinema when I'm here in Georgia, the door. Find yourself on the other side of it. I'm in Georgia, but Kyrsten Sinema is my project. Do you have a problem with that, sir? You've been talking shiesty since you've been down in the chat. I've been ignoring you, but I thought I'd make it clear what my intentions are in case you haven't been able to pick up on it. Back to what I was saying. My Instagram account is a new account. Please go over, follow me on Instagram. Oh, okay. He says, I'm with you 100%. Oh, okay. I thought you was trying to get slick with me. I read you wrong. All right. My apologies. But for anybody else that's down in there questioning, Kyrsten Sinema is my project. She's my project. She hoodwinked the constituents of Arizona. She presented herself to be one way. Once she got into office, she went from 35,000 to 11 million, loving on Mitch McConnell and doing the Republicans' bidding. I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit at all. So head on over to The Real Tabitha Speaks over on Instagram. Please follow me over there. I have a goal of 10,000 followers. Once I get to 10,000 followers, all of the other features get opened up to me. I would love to have 10,000 followers for Christmas. So have your people go over and follow me. Have your people's people go over and follow me. Kyrsten Sinema played the people. And yes, and they are furious. And I don't blame them. And she knows they are waiting for 2023 so that they can vote her ass out. They are waiting. What she did to them. Oh, and she knows it. That's why she switched from the Democratic Party to the Independent Party. And the guy broke it down perfectly that I shared earlier. Check out that video. He broke it down perfectly. He said she did it so she can pick off some of the Republicans or the Democratic votes. Something like that. She knows she's going to be primary. The guy that they want, his last name is Gallego, I believe. He's already been in her ass. Now, he hasn't even come out and said he was actually running. But baby, the way he's been in her ass on CNN, I think that's an announcement. Hey, Barbara J, I think that's an announcement. We'll see. I've seen him do a few interviews. He was on MSNBC. Was it Joy Reid? No, it wasn't Joy Reid. It was one of the evening shows. He was going in. She knows. Arizonians are waiting. Is it Arizonians or Arizonans? Y'all know the constituents of Arizona who are in her district are just waiting to vote against her. Anywho, thank y'all for joining me. Happy Merry Christmas. Did we establish, is it Happy Christmas Eve or Merry Christmas Eve? It was Joy Reid. Thank you. He was on there, baby. He laid into Kyrsten. He hasn't announced it, but he's announced it, in my opinion. I'll be on here tomorrow because I'm not traveling for the holidays, and my family is down in Miami. So I'll be reporting tomorrow. If something's popping off, I'll be reporting. I don't know if I'm going to go live, but I'll be reporting. Y'all go get ready for your Christmas tomorrow. Stay warm, stay safe. I see all of these videos of people out in the street. They told you to stay. Oh, thank you. They told you to stay home. People slipping and sliding and causing damage. And it's kind of sad because if they didn't have to, for the most part, if people are out there, it's because they have to be out there. Because bosses are requiring them to come into work. They have to put their lives on the line in order to keep their job. And that's sad. A lot of people are like, just quit. Don't put your life on the line. That's easier said than done. For you to be able to say that, that's a privilege in itself. People can't just up and quit. They don't have savings. And they have to feed their families. They're doing everything possible to keep a roof over their heads. So, and these establishments take advantage of that. Listen at my mama. She's sending me a text message about how cold it is down there. It's 43 degrees. And I'm finna send her a snapshot that is 14 degrees here. Put on a sweater. Put on a sweater, Mom. Why Atlanta didn't get ice roads? I think because the rain stopped earlier enough before the temperature really dropped. The roads were able to dry somewhat. Augusta has ice on the road. Y'all be safe out there. If you can, stay home. If you have to get out in it, please be safe. Please be safe. If it comes to you and ice, the ice gonna win. The ice is going to win. All right, y'all. Give me a few minutes before the live shows up on Tabitha Speaks Politics. I will be going live over on Tabitha Speaks TV to talk about Tory Lanez and his daddy. Did y'all see that? I got the video. We'll talk about it over there. I love y'all. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. I'll see y'all later.